Hi, nice to be here with you now today, practicing chin chest stand. This is a really big upper back extension class, big flexibility. This is gonna be a hard class, but it's gonna be super fun. The goal is chin chest stand. Obviously you don't have to do that. We will be practicing other poses like splits, camel, maybe, wheel, maybe. We have a lot of things lined up. I'm gonna try to fit it in this class within 75 minutes. You're gonna need your blocks, a yoga strap, and access to a wall. Obviously, there are things that you can find that aren't exactly these objects that will work just fine. We're gonna start in about 15 to 20 seconds. Have your coffee, tea, water nearby, and prepare for a fun class. We're gonna start with our yoga strap. We're gonna do some shoulder flossing. This pose per se, so grab your strap or something that resembles a strap, maybe a piece of clothing or scarf, and reach it up and above you and behind you, lubricating the shoulders, the scapula. This is, the pose that we're doing isn't necessarily overhead flexion or doesn't really require this position of the arms overhead, but ooh, it's always so good for the posture. Narrow the grip if it's too easy. Reach your arms up and over, keep the elbows straight. If you want to add an additional stretch, you can sit up and then flip the toes underneath to stretch the heels, the backs of the feet, the backs of the toes, and the ankles. If you want more, you can bend one elbow as your arms are overhead and reach or pull with the other arm down. At the same time, you can try to extend the upper arm. This little push and pull with the bottom arm. Exhale. Close the ribs, meaning cinch the low ribs in closer towards the hip bones. Switch to the other side when you're ready. That's it for the yoga strap. We no longer need that. Release the ankle stretch as well. One thing we're gonna do is integrate tricep wrap in this class. So tricep wrap means grab your block, just like how I am, hug your thighs together and sit down on your heels, and then grab your block with your forearms. Hands are like high five, spread the fingers apart. You're reaching your block in front of you. So the shoulder blades go forward. The shoulders go forward, you're reaching forward and you're looking forward, hugging the block. Okay, tricep wrap, you're trying to lift the upper forearm off the block, grounding through the lower forearm. So kind of like imagining your hands are externally rotating and you're grounding down through the elbow tips and trying to reach your upper forearms away. Trying not to drop the block. So this is a tricep wrap. Left hand turns counterclockwise, right hand turns clockwise, okay? All right, cat-cows. Let's integrate some spinal waves. So start to ground down through the palms, knees, and the tops of the feet. Inhale, look up, hug your elbows in tricep wrap. Flick your tailbone to the sky, lengthen the belly, reach your chin up and relax your forehead. Bithilasana for one moment here. Exhale, press the ground away, round your spine, root the tailbone, separate the shoulder blades, Mad Cat, Marjariasana. One moment in stillness. Now start to integrate your own authentic movement here, whatever that means. Change it up a bit. Start to embody your breath. Follow the rhythm of your breath. Separate the shoulder blades profoundly and then bring them together. Listen and follow along. Find a neutral spine here for a moment. Let's start spinal waves, but really thinking about where we start. We're going to start with the tailbone. Starting with the inhale, cow pose. Start with the flick of the tailbone. So really focus on starting with the tailbone, rooting your tailbone towards the sky, feeling your body lengthen in the belly area, the ribs, broaden the heart, bring the shoulder blades together. The vision is last, so look up last. On the exhale, quite the opposite. Start with the tailbone. Start to ripple your way through the vertebrae. Exhale, feel space within the ribs. Separate the shoulder blades. The last thing is tucking the chin and looking between the thighs. Start to embody this more of a controlled wave. A few moments here. Keeping the elbows straight. It could be a little small movement. It can be a big movement. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. Eventually, we want to get into the wrist. So walk the fingers externally, pointing towards the outer edges of your mat. Thin side part of the forearms facing forward. You can sway side to side, or you can do the same kind of spinal undulation. Spinal waves, integrating the pelvis and the shoulder blades. If you want more on the wrist, walk the fingers to face towards the knees. Still doing spinal waves or not. A few more breaths here. Until eventually we walk our fingers forward, walk the knees together. Wrist push-ups. Let's strengthen our wrist a little bit. Let's bring some awareness there. So I like to walk my knees back and together. Ground down through all four corners of the hand, especially that pointer finger mound, the index finger, ground down. Straighten the arms, tuck the tailbone, lift one palm and lower, lift the other palm and lower. Keep the thumbs hovered as you lift both palms and lower. If it's too easy, make sure your shoulders are over your wrists, or shift your weight forward a little more. If it's too hard, walk your knees closer to your hands, but you're lifting and lowering both palms at the same time for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Lower the palm down, palms. Flip the toes under, lift the knees up, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So your knees can bend and your heels can be lifted. You're pressing your palms into the mat, reaching the shoulders close to the ears, tuck your chin. Lift one heel and bring the other heel towards the mat. Switch sides. Slowing down the breath. Eventually, you're going to want to find a stillness, holding this Adho Mukha Svanasana. Tricep wrap, ground down through all four corners of the hands, hug the elbows towards the ears. Okay, eventually, lift the heels, bend the knees, hug the thighs to the low belly. Extend the legs, keep the heels lifted, then drip the heels to the right side of the mat, bend the knees profoundly, dip, lower the hip. Feel a lengthening of the left side body. Inhale, rise, other side, bring the heels to the left, lengthen the right side ribs. Doing this motion, inhale, rise the heels, exhale, drip down. One more time on each side until eventually you go back into a downward facing dog. Last thing we're gonna do in this downward dog, once you find stillness, is a little twist. Root down through your left palm, hover the right palm off the mat. Reach and extend your right arm towards the outer edge of your left ankle. So underneath you, and then look underneath your left armpit towards the sky and sustain for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, release, go back the same way you came in. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Root down through the right palm, hover the left palm for a moment, and then reach it underneath you, grabbing onto the opposite ankle. Look towards the sky. 3, 2, 1. Bring the palm back down. Lower the knee. Why am I saying knee? Lower the knees and get out of it. That was our warm-up. Okay, let's get into it because it's been about 10 minutes or more. No longer need the piece of paper. Oh God. Bless me. I wish I was more like Adele and edited out my videos, but you're getting the authentic Castor by. Grab a sip of water, coffee, tea, whatever you have, and we'll move on. All right, listen and follow along. This is gonna be a great class, okay? But I need you to focus your attention on your body, on your breath, please. It'll only benefit you and your nervous system. Grab your blocks, block tower. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen carefully. If you know what I'm talking about, start to get into it. If you have cork blocks, great. If you don't, please be a little more careful because this is gonna require some balance. I've seen some fallouts that were pretty funny, but not funny. Inverted T. Top block is like this or on the narrow setting. I like to do it this way. Depends on your anatomy, but foot and a half away from the wall. It may take you a few tries. Eventually, you walk your hands back and find the block to meet the top of your back, so probably around the shoulder blade area. Once you find the balance, reach your arms towards the wall, look towards the wall, crown of the head melts towards the mat. Okay, tricep wrap. So press the palms into the wall, hug your elbows in, imagine there's that block. Look where the wall meets the floor, lift the hips and lower the hips. Lift and lower. Walk the hands down towards the wall meets the floor. Hug the elbows in. So it's this undulating between active and passive stretching, PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. The goal is to stay here for about a minute. Okay? The goal is not to look up like I am. It's to look towards the wall. Look down towards the mat. Relax the forehead, maybe. Maybe rest, and then take a moment to use some muscles and make it hard. Inhale, puff through the ribs, create space through the ribs, melt the mat, the top of the back right into the block. You have about 20 more seconds. Please stay in it. If your hands are touching the wall or where the wall meets the floor and your hips are down, you need to add more blocks. So if yours looks like mine, you need more blocks. Or you can start to press the palms on the ground. But eventually you find your way out. That's well over a minute. Nice. Half frog. So the way I like to enter through with half frog is grabbing onto my blocks on the tall setting. In front of me, almost like you're in a tabletop Varmanasana, then kickstand one leg out and then slide it away. You play with aligning everything, meaning the knees are in the same line, the pelvis, everything is in the same line. You can shift your weight forward and backwards, lean on your forearms, whatever feels good here. But also make it challenging. Some people like to twerk, playing with the positioning of their pelvis, anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. Whatever you're doing, relax your jaw. So place the tongue on the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, right behind your teeth. That persuades you to relax the jaw, release the ego. Spiritually speaking. Maybe you find Ujjayi breath. But eventually you press into the blocks. In a really slow, conscious way, get out of it. Let your nervous system know that you're safe. The slower you go, the better. If you have something soft to put underneath your knees, you can do so like I am, because I have sensitive knees, lately especially. But eventually doing frog, half frog on the other side, focusing on opening the other hip externally, relaxing, and then integrating muscle awareness. Once again, releasing the tension in your face, the jaw, slowing down the breath. You know, I was really excited to teach this class, mostly because I really wanted to do it. I love heart-opening classes. They really just energize me, and it's long due. I've been procrastinating on my self-practice. But eventually, slowly pressing your way out of it. Okay. Bring your blocks ahead of you. We're going to use them in a moment. Find your way up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Heels can lift, knees can be bent. Extend the arms, reach your hands into your mat. Find stillness here for one moment. Eventually, you lean into the left into the left sole of the foot. Reach and extend the right leg up, three-legged dog. Flex the foot, so bring the heel towards the sky. At the same time, try to square the hip, so activate the right glute. Press evenly into both palms and pulse the right heel towards the sky for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, point that toe that's lifted. Inhale, breathe profoundly in through the nose. Exhale, bend the knee, round the spine, turbo dog. Shift the weight forward, press into the palms. Bring your knee towards your nose. Sustain here. Inhale, extend. Point the toes towards the sky, look between the palms. Exhale, bend, turbo dog, round the spine. 3 more times. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more times. Last time. Step the right foot through. If it doesn't go through, guide your right foot through with your right hand. So grab your right hand on your right ankle, step it through, drop the back knee, really passive low lunge. Feeling the left hip open, relax into it, enjoy for the next 20 seconds. You can grab onto your blocks or not. Fold forward or integrate a back bend. My house is loud today. Fee, please. Shh. Let's work a little bit. Let's integrate some strength within flexibility. Look at your back toes, make sure your toes are in line with your ankle. Grab onto your blocks on the tallest setting or interlace your hands on your front thigh. Press down into the top of the back foot to lift the back knee. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Eventually the hips are barely moving, but yes, if you're not used to this motion, your hips are probably moving a lot. Lift and lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See if you can sustain the last one. Keep that lifted sensation. Exhale, close the ribs in towards the hip bones for 3, 2, 1. Lower the back knee, palms come down on the blocks. Shift your hips back, straighten the front leg, half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Avoid rounding your spine. By inhale, reach your chin forward. Create space through the vertebrae of your spine. Puff up through the ribs. Exhale, melt. Maybe you create little spinal waves with your breath. Inhale, chin to chest, long spine, no wrinkles on the back of your neck. Exhale, look forward, broaden the heart, shoulder blades come together, lean forward. Bend into the front knee, go back into the low lunge. Little twist and a little quad stretch. Right hand goes on the front thigh, left hand goes on a block or the mat. I like to flip my back toes under and lift my back knee. You don't have to do that. I'm going to. If you'd like to join me, you can. Inhale, nice long spine. Tuck the chin. Exhale, twist. Look over your right shoulder. Stay here or lower and lift the back knee. Eventually the knee will lower. Lift the back toes up. Foot can be flexed or pointed. Little pulses of the heel closer to the glute. Active quad stretch for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach your right arm behind you. Grab onto that back foot. Bring the heel closer to the glute. Sometimes, before I do that stretch, I like to straighten my front leg, bring my hips back, readjust. Maybe I can't grab that back foot. Maybe this movement helps me grab that back foot. Eventually you grab the back foot, pull the heel closer to the glute. Really passive stretch for 3, 2, 1. With control, release the back foot. Spin forward, palms to the mat. Try to go back into a 3-legged dog. Press down into the palms. Extend the back leg, lift the back knee, reach the right leg extended behind you, 3-legged dog, and then back into a downward dog. Notice the difference in the hips. All right. When you're ready, same thing on the other side. Root down through the right leg, right foot. Lift and extend the left leg up. Keep that foot flexed. Keep the hips squared. So the left hip tends to want to stack over the right. Let's try not to do that. Activate the left glute. Pulse the left heel towards the sky for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, point the toes towards the sky. Inhale, and then the next exhale, bend the knees, shift the weight forward, round the spine, bring your knee to your nose. Sustain turbo dog for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach and extend the leg behind you, look between the hands. Exhale, shift your weight forward, round your spine, look at the nose. I'm sorry, look at your knee. 3 more times. last time you stepped the foot forward, maybe you guide it forward, going back into this low lunge on the other side. Enjoy for 30 seconds. Whatever you want here. Maybe you just focus on relaxing and softening the face, finding your natural breath. Okay, preparing, grabbing onto your blocks, or interlacing your hands on your front thigh, interlacing your fingers on your front thigh. Excuse me. Press down to the top of the back foot, activate the right glute and lift the back leg. The whole back leg is active. Lift and lower that back leg, back knee. Maybe you get a cramp. It's okay, maybe slowing it down, taking a moment. For 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, try to keep that leg, that knee lifted, sustain. Exhale, close the ribs, bring the low ribs closer to the hip bones. 1, lower down. Straighten the front leg, shift your hips back, Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. Maybe you do those little spinal waves, focusing on thoracic spine, upper spine. Integrating fluidity within back bend practice really is only beneficial towards our nervous system. Our back bends. Our nervous system resides in our spine. The spine is the home of our nervous system. If you want to integrate doing ankle circles, you can. So yeah, creating fluidity, following the breath, slowing down the exhales and the inhales. All of these things really create beautiful back bend practices. Conscious, safe pathways. Going back into the low lunge, right hand goes on the right palm, right hand goes on the right onto a block, left hand goes on the left thigh. Inhale, nice long spine. If you want to lift the back knee like I did last time by curling your back toes under, exhale, twist. Nice. When you're ready, lower that back knee, lift that back toe, flex the foot or point it, trying to bring the heel closer to the glute. For 5, little pulses. Feet. 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Reach and grab that back foot. Do a nice passive stretch. Fucking annoying ass dog. Until eventually, in a really controlled way, you release the back foot. Palms go forward and bring that back leg back. You can go back into that 3-legged dog like we did on the last side, and then back into a downward dog. But eventually, we gotta move on. Okay, let's do a little headstand. So, I'll guide us through it, but the goal is to do this headstand for about a minute. So, I'll guide us through it. We're gonna do a supported headstand, so you interlace your fingers, you look at your palms, you press the palms on the back of your skull and hug your forearms towards your temples. The place that's grounding down on your head is somewhere between your forehead and the crown of your head. Somewhere between there. Nice supported headstand. Time starts in about 10 seconds. But you lift your hips up, walk your feet closer towards your face. The wall is behind you. Eventually you're in your supported headstand. The feet are just above the head. Yeah, we're all in one line up here. Keep the toes pointed, stay here. Try to just stay here, imagining all the blood is rushing towards your head. You're giving yourself a massage. Root down through the elbow tips. Reach your forearms into the mat. Hug your forearms towards your temples. Maybe you activate your glutes. Maybe you hug your calves together. You have about 20 seconds. Whenever you're ready, slow with control, lower your feet towards the ground. Maybe you felt your feet losing all the blood. That's awesome. That was the goal. The goal there was to let our body know we're going to be doing back bends as well as heads as well as inversions. Because a chest stand, chin stand, in my opinion, is an inversion, even though the head is in line with the heart. The head is still not over the heart. So in my opinion, I think that is called an inversion. So why not do a few headstands in this class before we do our peak pose? All right, the next thing we're gonna do is knees, chest, chin, Ashtanga Namaskara. So I like to enter knees, chest, chin through cow pose. Shoulders over wrist, hips over knees. Ground down through all parts of the hands, palms and fingers. Inhale, hug the elbows in, tricep wrap. Flick the tailbone to the sky, lengthen the belly. Heart opens, chin reaches up, relax the forehead. Bittilasana. Okay, now look forward and slowly melt the heart towards the mat. So you're doing the tricep wrap, you're melting your heart down, you're hugging your elbows towards your ribs. The chin comes down as well. So you're here in chin, chest, knees. You're here in Ashtanga Namaskara, okay? You can walk your knees closer to where your chest is. Try to ground down through the toes and lift and extend one leg up. So lift one knee up and extend that leg and then lower. Lift and extend the other knee. Hug the elbows in. Keep doing this kind of like walking with your knees until eventually, if you feel up for it, try to lift and extend both at the same time. Melt the heart down. Once you're here, if you want more, you can try to lift the crown of the head off of the mat. Up towards the sky. Lift the chin off the mat, or maybe it just becomes lighter. Beautiful. Stay here for a few more moments, whatever variation you're doing, until eventually you lower your belly down. And we're done with that for now. Grab onto your blocks. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. So hands go on blocks in front of you. We're gonna do this idea of coiling our way up like a fern or maybe a wave, whatever kind of image you wanna create in your mind that does a lot of power imagery within the mind during deep back bends. So palms are on blocks in front of you, like above you, like way in front of you. Your hands are not underneath your shoulders. Eventually they will be. The forehead is on the mat. The feet are together or apart, doesn't matter. Press the pubic bone down. The glutes look activated. Press the tops of the feet down, activate the legs. On the next inhale, lift up the forehead, but keep the chin tucked. Open the heart. Keep the hips down. Your arms can be extended or slightly bent. Peel the heart open. Shoulder blades come together on the back side. Back of the skull goes back this time. So we're doing a double chin. Really baby Bhujangasana. Keep the hips down, that's the goal. On the next exhale, slowly bring your weight down, forehead to the mat. Last. Walk the blocks closer to your shoulders. Inhale, rise. Same concept. Same concept here. Coiling this way. This eventually you can start to look up and back. And then exhale, bringing your torso, your heart, your forehead down. Walk the blocks closer. Do this a few more times, following the breath, using your breath as a tool, until eventually your hands are underneath your shoulders on blocks. And the last time you hug your elbows in, you coil your way up. Keep your chin tucked till the very last minute. The hips can lift a little bit this time. Look back. Maybe you bend one knee, point the toes towards the crown of the head. Exhale, lower, hug the elbows in. Same thing on the other leg. Maybe you want to do both, King Cobra. Wherever you're at today, stay there for 4 more breaths. Slow down the breath. Slowly get out of it. Okay. Press your way up. Sit down. Seated straddle. So, you might be like, what are we doing seated straddle for? This isn't a handstand class. Make sure the seated straddle is really wide. So as wide as you can make it. The goal is to keep the kneecaps in line with the toes towards the sky. That's the goal. Hands on hips. Legs are wide and extended. Point the toes, active legs. Try to play with the position of the pelvis. Flick the tailbone back. Open the heart forward. Maybe you bring your shoulder blades back. Exhale, quite the opposite. Tuck the tailbone around the spine, lean back. Now find somewhere in between a nice neutral spine, neutral shoulders, neutral pelvis. Okay, slide your right hand in front of you. Lean forward on your right hand. Left hand slides on your right, glides, and extends behind you. Finding a thoracic spine twist. If you have the wall behind you like I do, you can use it to support you in a real passive way. But if you don't, reach your left arm. Extend your right arm. They're both extended. Focus on twisting the upper spine. And slowly on the next exhale, the same way you came in, switch hands. Inhale, slide the hand along the arm and behind you. Look behind you. Maybe you grab onto the wall for a moment. Maybe you don't. For 3, 2, 1. Now, at your own pace, 2 times on each side, making it really fluid. Integrate whatever you like here. Nice. Once you've done that, maybe you close the legs in a little bit and fold forward here for about 15 seconds. A little moment of passive forward fold before we move on. Okay. I'm gonna guide us through a dynamic move. Actually, it's not really dynamic movement because we are doing the full expression of it. But listen and follow along, and then we try to do about 5 sets of this. Motion between 3 different poses here. So root down through the toes and lift the hips up, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hold this pose for a moment. Now look between the hands, hug your elbows in tricep wrap, bend the knees, shift your weight forward, really melting the heart down, knees, chest, chin for a moment here. So downward dog to knees, chest, chin, flick the tailbone to the sky. On your next exhale, spinal wave, tuck the tailbone. So start with tucking the tailbone. Hugging your elbows in towards your ribs. Spinal wave, bringing your hips down, opening the heart, coming into a Bhujangasana or even an upward facing dog. Looking up last. Exhale, root down through the toes. Bring your hips up and back, downward facing dog. You may need to go into a tabletop. You know what? I'm gonna do this one more time. I have to because I feel like I went too fast. Downward facing dog. Going back into a knees, chest, chin. Shift your weight forward, bend the elbows, bring your knees down, your chest and your chin. Ashtanga Namaskara. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, spinal wave. Upward facing dog or cobra pose. Root down through the back toes. This is what I did wrong last time. Shift, bend your elbows, bend, going into a tabletop. So you're kind of like from the upward facing dog or Bhujangasana, going into a tabletop position or a cow pose. That's it, cow pose. Look up, exhale. Hips up and back, downward dog. So this motion, what I just did, or the first time, 5 times on your own. Listen one more time or just do whatever you want. Downward dog. Knees, chest, chin. Spinal wave. Upward facing dog. Root down through the knees, hips back. Cow pose, look up. Exhale, downward dog. 4 more times. Nice. We're halfway through class, over halfway through class. Let's get into extended puppy pose. If you're in puppy pose and just working on puppy pose, actually, scratch that. Listen and follow along, everyone. Grab onto one block. Grab it on the smallest setting, place it in front of you, elbow tips splayed outwards, find the chin on the edge of the block and lower the heart. Like so. The goal is to bring the heart to the mat and the chin is touching. Once that's happening, try to bring the crown of the head off of the mat. Bringing the crown of the head up. So making the chin lighter. Yeah? Focusing on opening the throat, neck extension. At the same time, making it active, making your chin lighter on the block, keeping the chest down, lifting and lowering. The goal is to stay here and keep doing this active, passive stretch. If you find it to be too easy, you need to change the setting of your blocks. You can stack the blocks in different ways. We're here for 15 more seconds on your own. Nice, slowly get out of it. Okay, frog pose. So we did frog, half frog, now let's do frog pose. Grab onto your blocks, lean on your blocks with your hands or your forearms, separate the knees. Minute has started now. The goal is to stay here for 1 minute. So it has started now. Relax the jaw by placing the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. Soften the expression of your face, shift your weight forward and backwards, play with pelvis positioning. 40 more seconds on your own. Fifteen more seconds. It's been a minute, so slowly get out of it. Camel with the wall. So listen and follow along. The goal here is to stay in it as long as you can. We're only doing it once. Well, obviously you can do it twice if you get out of it too soon, but this, I'm guiding it once. Camel pose with the wall, really focused on some really interesting aspects. So listen and follow along. I would say your toes are somewhat close to the wall. It depends on your anatomy. Stand on your knees. Your knees are about hips distance apart. Place your hands on your hips. Maybe your hands are slightly behind you on your sacrum. Roll your shoulders up and behind you. Open the heart. Look up and then back. Eventually you see the wall. Adjust as needed. Sometimes I need to widen my stance. But eventually you place one or both palms on the wall. Hug the elbows in. Sit the sit bones down. All right, now you're sitting the sit bones down. You're placing your hands on the wall, looking at the wall, sitting the sit bones down. Now try to lift the hip bones up. Look more to where the wall meets the floor. Walk the hands down, press into the wall as you sit down. Try to extend the arms, so press into the wall as your hips are down. It's this undulation, this playing with this really challenging back bend, using the wall to make it more challenging. Maybe walk your hands up and extend your arms. Wherever you're at, eventually finding a way out. I'll give you about 10-15 more seconds before we move on. When you're done with that, maybe you need to do some neck stretches. Take a moment to tend to your needs. This is a pretty intense class. I get it. Okay, tripod headstand. I'm guiding us through tripod headstand because it's one of those ones that focuses on grounding down through the palms. So in this headstand, you are balancing on the crown of your head and on the palms. Try to put more weight into the hands rather than the head. If you want to put an extra cushion underneath the crown of your head, you can. If you want a wall behind you to make you feel safer, you can. But eventually, you ground down to the top of your head. Your hands are underneath your elbows, creating a 90 degree angle with your arms. Press down through the toes, lift the knees up, walk your way up into a tripod headstand. Once you're here, the goal is to stay here, keeping this straight. If you can't keep it straight, the stag leg is totally fine too. Finding comfort in the discomfort, press down through all parts of the hands. See what that does with the balance. Maybe you switch legs or keep that straight line sensation. Point the toes, make it look pretty. Hug the elbows in. Activate the glutes slightly. Hug the thighs towards each other. 30 more seconds on your own. Maybe you start to feel a numbness in your feet. That's beautiful. That means you're giving yourself a little massage. When you come down, all the blood will rush towards your feet and it'll feel lovely. But eventually, it's been about a minute, I would go down. Locust lifts, okay. So if you have something soft, I suggest maybe a cushion or roll your mat up, a double roll underneath your pubic bone and your hips. We're doing locust lifts with the wall. So this is challenging. We're gonna do it for about a minute, so listen and follow along. Lay down on your belly and press the balls of your feet into the wall. Your feet are about hips distance apart, more or less. Okay, once you're here, and you feel good, the goal is to keep the arms extended above you. Obviously, that's not possible for everyone. You can have your hands hovered underneath you, hugging your elbows in, almost like you're doing a chest stand. Reach your arms behind you, hands behind the skull, whatever you'd like, but press the balls of the feet into the wall, lift your way up and lower. Lift and lower. You may need to readjust, but time starts. We're doing it for 1 minute. In 3, 2, 1. Inhale, press into the wall and lift. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Readjust. I always have to readjust. We're halfway through. Keep going. You've got it. If you want to keep the lifted sensation, you can. "15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You did it. That was a minute. That was really hard. I'm proud of you. Take a moment. Sometimes I have to sit down on my heels and tuck my tailbone to readjust my low back. Sometimes I do little circular motions with my pelvis. But we must move on. We're gonna do push-ups. And not regular push-ups, wide armed push-ups. So the hands are outside of the mat. Big high fives. Pointer fingers parallel, elbows over the wrist. Reach and extend the legs behind you, as many as you can. Could be 10, could be 15, could be 5, could be 3. Push, you can do it. These are like contortion style push-ups. These follow through and handstands, back bends, all that jazz. Once you've done that, take a moment. I'm proud of you, that's hard. Good job, we're doing it together. Okay. Locust rock and rolls. Okay. This is really hard, almost like what we were doing with the wall, but it's different and it's a little more fun. I promise this is the only time we're doing it, so push yourself, but also listen to your body and take a moment to adjust. The goal is to do it for a minute. I've heard different names for this. I would call it a locust rock and roll. That's just my own version. Listen and follow along, or just listen and look, and then the minute will start after I'm done showing. But you can lower Reach your arms in front of you and your legs are extended behind you. Okay? The goal is to lift the legs and then lift the arms. Lift the legs, lift the arms until eventually, I have to get my speaker away, but eventually it looks like this. Okay, it doesn't look exactly like that, but it looks something like that. The minute will start in 15 seconds. Have something underneath your pubic bone, hip area. 10 seconds. We can do this. We can do hard things. Reach your arms in front of you. 3, 2, 1, begin. You're 30 seconds in, keep going, take a moment if you need to, but go back into it. It's this weird TikTok sensation. 15 more seconds, you can do it. Three, 2, 1, you did it. Okay, take a moment. Sometimes people need to do a quick forearm plank to lengthen the low back. You can do that, or not. We're almost done with all the hard things, you guys. We're almost ready for the peak pose finale, but we still have lots of hard, fun things to do as well. So, let's take a moment to do splits. So grab onto your blocks, step your right foot forward, left leg back, low lunge. Exhale, straighten the front leg, half splits. Separate the legs. 3/4 split. Or if you want to go lower, you can. Check the alignment of your feet. Lift one or both arms up for 3, 2, 1. Lower the hands down. Relax into this. I'm only guiding you through one way, one active splits here. So you can keep doing what I just did, or do what you'd like here for 30 more seconds. Sometimes I place my hands on my hips to try to square them. That's been 30 seconds. I just killed a tick on my dog. That's what happens when you have rain season here. Eventually you get on out of it, and we switch to the other side. Same way we went into it. Eventually you're in that 3/4 split. Then you lift one or both arms up for 3, 2, 1. You're on your own here for 45 seconds. Okay. That's time. Slow, slow, slow. Wide armed push-ups. So what we were doing earlier, max push-ups, max the amount you can do right now. Hands are on the outside of the mat. Nice straight line with the body. Lower and lift. If you need to lower the knees, you're more than welcome to do so. That wasn't my max. You don't have to do your max, but do what feels good, and we move on. Entering into bridge pose. So, lay on your backs. Before we go into chin chest stand, I'd like to do a wheel. And before we do wheel, I'd like to do bridge. So lay on the backs, root down through the soles of the feet, kneecaps towards the sky. Walk the heels closer to the glutes. We are using the strength of our hands, so press down into the palms. The arms are extended beside you. Find your natural breath. Root down through the soles of the feet. Press down, lift the hips up. Start to create a little back bend. Walk your shoulders underneath you. Maybe you clasp your hands underneath you or press the palms down into the mat. Whatever version you'd like. The goal is to bring the hips up, hug the knees in towards the midline. Sustain here. Maybe you're doing little pulses with the hips. Maybe you're staying still. Whatever you're doing, slow down the breath and stay here for 15 more seconds. Eventually, we lower the hips down, reverse, go back down. Maybe you sway the knees side to side. Preparing for the second set. If you have wheel in your practice, please do wheel today with me. Same way we entered, but a little different. Lift the hips up. Try not to use the strength of your arms. Straight line bridge. Maybe your hands on your hips like me, or maybe not. Eventually, you bring the arms up, elbow tips towards the sky. Bring your hands, peel your hands onto the mat. Fingertips pointing towards the shoulder blades. I'm sorry, towards the shoulders, I guess. Okay, you're here. Press into the feet, into the hands to lift the body. Place the skull on the top of the mat. Maybe you're here, and that's beautiful. Stay here, or if you want, press your way up. Lift the head, the body up. Ground down through the feet, through the palms. Maybe you walk your hands closer. Extend the arms, press into the palms. Press the hips up, activate the glutes. Look between the hands, relax the forehead. Try to stay in this wheel. 15 more seconds, 30 more seconds. Eventually, whenever you're ready, ease your way out of it, trying to come back the same way you came in, maybe. We're near the end of class. So let me guide you through the peak pose of class, which is chin chest stand. If you want to do chin chest stand with your hands on blocks, you're more than welcome to do so. Some people like to do that, hands on blocks, and rest their shoulders with their chin on the ground. Some people do that. I'm not going to guide you that way. There is a class on intro into chin chest stand that you can take. Before this, I should have said that at the beginning class, but if this is very familiar, you can go back to chin chest stand, journey into chin chest stand, introduction. And that's more of a slow paced for beginners. But I'm not going to guide you through this with the blocks. So the goal is called, right now I'm going to guide you through chin chest stand with Ashtangasana push-ups. So Ashtangasana push-ups is something I learned from Adele Bridges, phenomenal teacher. Listen and follow along. Your knees can be on a soft mat or towel or not. But if you're not familiar or you'd like to use a wall, have a wall really close to you. I will guide you with the wall here. Your body is ready for this. Congratulations. Now let's get into the hard start, the hard peak pose stuff. Okay, let's give it our all. Let's do what we can, but also being aware of tension in the low back. If it starts to feel uneasy, you're more than welcome to back off and start to wind down. Okay, so Ashtanga Namaskara push-ups. Nope, Ashtangasana push-ups. So you're in Balasana, child's pose, but your thighs are kind of closer together, or knees are in line with the hips. Reach your hands forward. Your toes are flipped under, so your heels are stacked over your toes. Inhale, come into cow pose. Shift your weight forward, rise the torso up, open the heart, lift the heels, and look up. So you're in this kind of like cow pose variation with the heels coming close to the glutes. Exhale, lower the heart down, knees, chest, chin, but with the legs lifted. Inhale, press your way up. And come back into child's pose with the toes flipped under. Do this a few times. Child's pose variation, cow pose, knees, chest, chin. Looks kind of like a really ugly push-up. 5 to 8 times on your own. This is preparing us for a kick-up that we're about to do. And when I say kick-up, I mean a really controlled, conscious lifting of one leg and bringing it above you. The reason my chin isn't coming down is because of my microphone, so please bring your chin down. And like I said, you're more than welcome to do this with hands on blocks. Okay, eventually, once you're done with that, stay there. If you want more and you want to start doing chin chest stand, listen and follow along. I'm going to try to, this is going to be hard to teach, but I'm going to try. Okay, with the microphone, I mean. Okay, so this is what we're doing, the same thing. Child's pose, forehead to the mat, toes are flipped under. Inhale, rise, cow pose. Lift the heels, lower down, chin chest stand. Okay, now, once you're in the chin chest stand with the heels lifted, you can walk your knees up. You can lift one leg up, hug the elbows in, and extend the other leg. Lifting the heart up slightly and kicking up. So, it's this interesting sensation, and once you find it, you understand where the balance is. The balance of hugging the elbows in and lifting out of the melting, creating safety, creating strength, and then allowing yourself to melt your heart towards the mat, opening, splaying the elbows out, dripping the ribs down. So it's the idea of child's pose, cow pose, knees, chest, chin, root one foot down, start to create this kicking, pressing into the palms like we did in tripod headstand, doing a stag leg, coming down. Maybe you go into an upward facing dog. Maybe you exhale, downward dog. Lower the knees, extended child's pose. Cow pose. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Switch sides. Try that sequence a few times. See how it feels to do that kick up. Enjoy it. Take a moment The last hard thing we're gonna do of class is a middle splits, and then one more chin chest stand, and that's it. So take a sip of water, take what you need. Class will be winding down here very momentarily. This is probably the longest class I filmed. So yeah, take a moment, take a sip of water. And we're gonna do middle splits. If you felt really good in frog pose, do frog pose. But if you'd like to do middle splits with me today, please join me with or without blocks. Separating the knees or the feet. If you're doing frog pose, the knees. Time has started now. 1 minute. You may notice maybe you feel not so bendy today, not so flexible. That's okay. It doesn't mean what you're doing right now isn't beneficial. If we don't work on the days that aren't open or aren't feeling good, then we don't see the progress. It's days like these where we see on our good days where all the hard work made sense. It's been a minute, surprisingly. So, slowly get out of it. Last hard thing of class. Chin, chest, stand, hold. So what we've just been doing is getting into chin, chest, stand. I'd like us to do a hold. If you can't hold it for too long, it's okay. That's your starting point. Make a goal and see where you want to be. Video yourself, look at the alignment, look at what you need to work on. Do I need to open my upper spine? Do I need more hamstring length? No, hamstring activation. There are so many different ways we can open our body in back bends through spine, hips, and legs. So videoing yourself helps. I'm gonna give us 1 minute. I'm gonna time us. So I'll let you guys know when the minute is up. Time starts in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do the hard work, y'all. This is the last hard stuff we're doing. Thirty more seconds, more or less. And then we wind down. That was it. That was the hard stuff. Take a sip of water. Let's do a nice little wind down to end class. Lay down on your backs. See if you can root down to the feet. Tuck the tailbone and bring your low back to touch the mat or get closer to the mat. Nice. Reach your arms above you and your legs, dead bug pose. So your arms and legs are kind of bent, wrists and ankles kind of relaxed. Feel your back really heavy. See if you can press all parts of your back on the mat. Start to roll your wrists. Create little circles with your wrists and your ankles. Maybe you hear little cracks. Reverse the circles. Nice. Okay. Now extend the arms, extend the legs, point the toes. Hands are like in fists, so squeeze the hands in fists. Lift the low back off the mat. So reach the legs up, lift the low back off the mat. Lift your arms off the mat, your shoulders off the mat. The only thing touching is your middle back, not the low back, not the upper back. Arms and legs are extended. Bend the left arm, bend the left leg. Reach and extend the right arm up. Bend. So we're kind of like reaching and extending one side at a time. Imagining we are without gravity and we're climbing on a rope, if you like to imagine. Huge abdominal flexion, really, really hard. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Release the pose. Bring the soles of your feet together. Open your legs up like a butterfly. Interlace the hands and place them behind your skull. Elbow tips splaying out. Stay here for a moment. Relax. Keeping your arms in the same position, root down through the feet, kneecaps pointing towards the sky. Reach your right leg up and cross it over your left like you're a lady. Now drip the legs to the left side of the mat, keeping your arms like so. A reclined twist variation. You can look to the right if you want more. Inhale, release. Come back to this kind of like pose with the feet down. Now cross the left leg over the right. Bring the left leg and the right leg to the right side of the mat and look to the left. Try to bring the elbow tips, both of them, on the mat. Lovely. Release the reclined twist. A moment here for Ananda Balasana, happy baby pose. So, lift the feet up, grab the hands to touch the soles of the feet. Press the feet into the hands into the feet. Bring the low back and the skull on the mat. Happy baby pose. You can bend one leg, extend the other. You can rock side to side or stay here in the traditional pose for 15 more seconds. Eventually you release the feet and start to rock and roll. Place the hands on the shins or the knees and start to massage the back into the floor. You know what I mean? Jelly bean? See if you can find the upper back on the floor, the glutes on the floor. Do this rock and roll 5 more times until eventually you come seated on the mat in Vajrasana pose, Thunderbolt pose. Last moments, last motions of this class. Hug the thighs together. Interlace your hands, look at your palms. Inhale, open your arms up and look like you are creating a circle with your arms, chest, and palms. Look at the circle you're creating. Puff through the upper heart, the back heart. Separate the shoulder blades. Abdominal flexion, round the spine as well. See how that feels. On the next exhale, release the interlace of the hands. Open your arms up to a T, palms facing forward. Project the heart forward, look up, lean forward. Interlace your hands behind you. Maybe you have to bend your elbows. Forehead down, reach the hands up towards the sky. Rabbit pose variation, I guess. You can keep this lifted sensation of the fists, or you can bring the fists or the hands down towards the sacrum. Eventually we rise up, reverse the same way we came in, create the circle, interlace the fingers, round the spine. Last time. Open the heart. Reach the arms behind you. Nice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really appreciate your dedication to yourself and to this practice and to your heart-opening journey. Thank you so much.